What is up, everybody? My name is Kyle. This is mock draft number 5. The last one got good responses, so I'm gonna continue them. Apologize for my voice; it's probably a little weird. Sick. That's why I wasn't out yesterday. But yeah. A couple things before we start this mock draft. The first thing is I added a video. It's my top quarterback rankings. My top 10 quarterback rankings. I'm gonna be doing this for each position. This video was added a few days ago, and for some reason it's saying that if it's on an iPhone or on a tablet or like an iPad, it's saying that this format is not available when it actually is. So go click on that video because you can watch it. It just, for some reason, it's not saying you can. I might delete it and repost it. Just have to double check that I have it here, but I've already had it out for like a week. So yeah, it's only 18 views after a week, so I feel like there's something wrong there. Considering when my other videos get, after a week, anywhere from about 300 to 500 views, depending on how good it is. The last one got excellent response. I love your guys' comments, but that leads me to my next point. YouTube comment system, at least on my phone, iPad, and computer, is broken. I can comment, but I can't reply to your comments, and it annoys me because I want to be able to interact with subscribers and people who comment and everybody who has any questions about the draft. I want to just be able to quickly respond to them, not necessarily have to make a whole video about it. Just want to be able to quickly say reply, thanks for support, and I answered their question, or tell them whatever they need to know the answer to, or my opinion on what they said, anything. But YouTube comment system does not let me do that, so from now on, feel free to comment. I love the comments, but I prefer if you just tweet me. Sorry I was interrupted. It's alright. But yeah, feel free to comment below, but from now on I would definitely prefer you to tweet me. It allows me to interact with you better and also faster. So my Twitter will be in the description below. It is KyleZelma11. Very simple. Again, it'll be in the description below. As well as one more thing. I'm going to end my videos from now on with hashtag teamgaroppolo. And every tweet to a fan will be hashtag teamgaroppolo, because I love Garoppolo. As you can tell, if you watched that video, oh my god. If you actually watched the entire last mock draft, I talked about Jimmy Garoppolo for 10 minutes. Oh god. So yeah, and also if you don't remember my Twitter and you get off for some reason, you can't figure out what it is, and you want to tweet me a question, just use the hashtag teamgaroppolo, and I'll check that and I'll respond to you there if you want that. Yeah. Alright, anyway, we gotta get this mock draft started because okay, so another thing, I'm going to continue using the GIFs that I use and the pictures and whatever, but I'm just gonna reuse the same ones for the most part, unless I add new players to my top 32. If that annoys you, tell me, because I'll change it. I'll try to change it, at least. All of the things, all the editing I do, and all of the pictures I put in, and all the videos I put into other videos is incredibly simple. And if you want to know how to do it, I will more than gladly tell you. Okay, just tweet me. And yeah. Also, you can follow my Twitter for the fact that I just retweet stuff that is relevant to the draft and relevant to the NFL. I will start doing free agent videos because I feel like that's a thing that's sooner, and people have more hype on that too because they want to see what their team gets. But a lot of people, don't necessarily get choice to have a great free agent market, and a lot of people want their teams to sign a bunch of free agents, but it's kind of a trap. It's kind of like a lack. You gotta be more patient and build through the draft. It's my opinion. Okay, I'm also really pumped for the scouting combine. Just saying. All right, let's start this mock draft off with the number 1 overall pick. I'm sorry, and one more quick thing. This mock draft is a little outdated. I made it about a couple days after I posted my last mock draft, so this is a little bit out of date. I apologize for that. I'm making a new one, and the audio is way off right now. I'm sorry. Test. Okay, alright, just making sure. I don't think it's on. I'm gonna cancel this video and start it again. Hold on. Yeah, also, if you can't tell, I don't cut anything, because I'm lazy. I don't cut anything out. I just go with it. Oh, smack the mic. I just go whatever happened. But this mock draft is a little outdated. I apologize for that. The newer one will have some more updates. The top 10 doesn't have that much of a change, but the next top 10 does. But for now, my number 1 overall pick, and one more pick. Sorry, one more thing. Sorry. I promise this is the last thing. This mock draft is based on a combination of rumors I hear that teams have, like, things that make sense for the GM and general manager to do. But this mock draft ultimately comes down to, if I was the general manager or if I was a scout of this team, who would I suggest them to pick, or would I pick myself? That's what it ultimately comes down to here in my mock drafts. So sometimes you might be like, why? Our GM said this, or the rumors are this. I'm just like, alright, you might be right. I might be completely wrong, but I'm just saying this is my predictions. I want you guys to hear my view. Alright, anyway, we gotta start this mock draft. So, starting off with the number 1 overall pick, my number 1 player on my big board, not Jadeveon Clowney, Johnny Manziel, quarterback, Texas A&M. My favorite player, my favorite quarterback in this draft by far. From what I'm hearing, this pick, the Texans taking Johnny Manziel number 1 overall is becoming less likely, which will probably result in a change to the number 1 overall slot in my later mock drafts. But I agree with Johnny Football. I believe that if they do pass on him, it'll be the stupidest, dumbest, the biggest mistake in their franchise history, with the exception of drafting David Carr number 1 overall. So Johnny Manziel obviously is a playmaker. He lights up the field. He gives you this added element of excitement, and he's just like number 1 overall pick material is Johnny Manziel. Who cares how tall he is? Because I don't. Because Russell Wilson just won a Super Bowl, and Drew Brees has been doing it long before Russell Wilson has. It's just the style of his play. People see it. It's overly athletic and overly scrambling. You think that's just for college, but why can't it work in the NFL? We see Russell Wilson succeed. We saw RG3 succeed his first year. I believe he'll come back. He'll be fine. Don't worry. We see guys like Cam Newton succeed, but Cam's 6'6", not 6. Yeah, 6'6". He's 260. Carolina Panthers get the best player every time. Quick note: Carolina Panthers have had excellent last 3 years of drafting. Do you realize how outstanding their drafts have been since drafting Cam Newton, number 1 overall? They drafted Cam Newton, franchise quarterback. Then they drafted Luke Kuechly, franchise middle linebacker, and then they drafted Starlin Tolele, franchise defensive tackle. It's just an excellent draft for the Carolina Panthers lately. I love it. Number 1, Johnny Football, quarterback, Texas A&M, to the Houston Texans. Alright, at the number 2 spot, I have I apologize. Alright, at the number 2 spot, I have the St. Louis Rams selecting Greg Robinson, offensive tackle out of Auburn. I do realize that this pick has become somewhat elementary. Everyone seems to be throwing either Greg Robinson or Jake Matthews here or Sammy Watkins, and some people are just putting Clowney everywhere, and it's sometimes you need to take the best player available. And other times, you need to do things that make sense for the franchise. And drafting Jadeveon Clowney, number 2 at the Rams, makes no sense whatsoever. Chris Long, you got money in him. Robert Quinn is 23, he's an up-and-coming superstar. You don't need Clowney. You really don't. There's just no room for him. On a team with needs and a team that is close to becoming elite, trade this pick, though. Trade it down. Switch with, like, the Vikings or someone who wants a quarterback. You can get a good trade here for the Rams. But for now, Greg Robinson, the mauler, big right tackle, can play left tackle in the future. Right now, I see him as a right tackle. He's a moving wall there. Very athletic, redshirt sophomore, so still very young, still very raw. Can get so much better. And that's going to help out that running game that's going to be the mainstay of the St. Louis Rams for right now. Zach Stacy is going to be able to carry that team while they're in this developmental process of trying to get rid of Sam Bradford, because I know they want to. It's just as a cap hit number, they just got to cut him. They just got to trade him or cut him. This plain and simple. Sam Bradford can't be the starting quarterback for the Rams if they want to go anywhere. So yeah, Greg Robinson. If the Rams do keep this pick, it's going to be Greg Robinson, offensive tackle out of Auburn. Alright, at the number 3 spot, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting Jadeveon Clowney, defensive end, South Carolina. The reason I have them selecting Clowney instead of Teddy Bridgewater or Blake Bortles is, look, this team has some talent on the offensive side. They do. They have a franchise left tackle in Luke Jokel, in my opinion. They have Justin Blackman, who needs to grow up a little bit still. He's still a talented kid. He's just been off the field a lot. Off the field issues and injuries have plagued him, but he still has a lot of talent and still can be a formidable option there. They also have Cecil Shorts, who's an excellent receiver, great speed. Again, injuries have been slightly an issue, not as much as Justin Blackman, but he's been steady there with not very good quarterback play. And then they have Ace Sanders in the slot. That's, again, another good option. They have Denard Robinson, their offensive weapon, where they can just kind of put him anywhere they want to. And they have Mercedes Lewis, an excellent receiving and blocking tight end. So this team is, they're missing a quarterback on the offensive side of the ball. Now, what I just said, you might think, well, duh, dude, just take the quarterback, and this team might be a playoff team. But look, Gus Bradley is coming from Seattle. I'm speaking as if I was a GM in Jacksonville Jaguars. This would be my theory here. Gus Bradley, coming from Seattle, he's a defensive-minded head coach. First of all, this is a completely unrelated note. I don't think they should let MJD go. I think he'll be gone, but I think that would just be an excellent, addition to their offense if they kept Maurice Jones-Drew. I think that'd be really smart. But anyway, continuing. Look, so you got a defensive-minded head coach. You got the best player available is a excellent defensive end, extraordinary athleticism, can definitely add a pass rush to your team. The weakness of the Jacksonville Jaguars is their defense. Can they score points? If they had a better quarterback, they would be able to score a lot more points than they do, and they do score a pretty, average amount of points. It's not like that's their total downfall. People like to joke about how terrible the Jaguars are, but it's just because they don't have a quarterback and they don't have a defense. So it's like, how do you say that the team's going to be good? But look, they got some pieces on that defense that can make them good in the secondary. They have Jonathan Cyprien, which they drafted in the second round last year, strong safety out of Florida International. They have Dwayne Gratz, a corner, one of their top picks. I can't remember. I think he's out of Connecticut. I'm not 100% sure on that, but Dwayne Gratz is a good corner. And then you got, Cyprien. Okay, so you got a safety, you got a corner. That's good. Starting good here. You have Plus Leslie in the middle. You got Geno Hayes as an outside linebacker. I like him a lot. He's got a lot of that athleticism. And you added John Latulele in the draft last year as an left outside linebacker. Some depth there. You have Tyson Alawaldo. I think he's a free agent this year, but I suppose he'll be back with that team to be in the middle there as a defensive tackle / defensive end. And then your weaknesses are, you got Andre Branch. Is that Andre Branch? I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. This will be his third year at Texas A&M, and he's a defensive end. I know that much. I think it's Andre Burns, but I might be wrong. But anyway, you got one pass rusher. You got Jason Babin, who's, I mean, these guys are average pass rushers. They're not anywhere near elite. But if you add a Clowney to that defense, it's gonna make the quarterback's decisions have to be forced a lot faster. So they're gonna have to, the quarterback's playing against Jacksonville. They're not going to be able to sit in the pocket forever like they're used to and be able to pick apart the defenses, especially when they're playing. So if they're playing a zone defense, if there's like a kind of a sugar 2 disguise kind of defense they're playing, let's say that, I'm just saying, picking out a random play. Let's say that they have a zone there, and the quarterback drops back. This is pretty obvious to what a pass rusher does, but I'm just giving you the example with Clowney. So Clowney is this freakishly athletic guy where you don't want to throw it towards his side low because he's 6'6" and can leap. He's going to knock the ball down like J.J. Watt. He can also run a 4.4, so if he gets past your tackle, you need to get that ball out immediately because he's going to tackle you. So it's always going to be in the back of the quarterback's mind that, oh, well, I got to hurry up and get this ball out, or Clowney's going to come up there and knock my helmet off because he can hit hard too. So it's going to allow this defense to, is making its way up there as a defense. It's in the process of building a defense. And so, it's going to let this team, while it's so young, it's young and not as talented as every other team and just learning how to play the game here, it's not going to be able to be as exposed with Clowney. With Clowney's on this addition to this team, it's not going to be able to be anywhere. It's not going to be able to be exposed as well. The quarterback is going to have to make some decisions fast and force mistakes, and Cyprian's going to come up there and knock some socks off, and Dwayne Gratz is going to make a pick, and plus Lozny is going to stop the run. They can stop the run fairly well. I think that's pretty, good to say that I think their run stopping is above average to average. I think that they have the talent to do that, and in my opinion, if I was a coach, I'm a defensive-minded head coach. If I was a coach, I like defense. Defense wins championships, in my opinion. You just watched it with Seattle. This young, talented defense that Pete Carroll built out of a bunch of nobodies. Richard Sherman was a late-round pick, 4th to 6th. I can't remember which one it was, but it was 4th through 6th, somewhere in that range. And look at him; he's the best corner in the NFL. Look, it starts with defense. If your team can stop them from scoring, your points being scored won't need to be that much. And yes, and I do firmly believe that they will get their starting quarterback in the 2nd round, so Clowney is a no-brainer here for the Jaguars at 3. I just want to explain my reasoning a little more, but I gotta move on to the next pick. Alright, I gotta move on to my next pick. This is my first change since my last mock draft, and the Cleveland Browns at 4. I have them selecting Blake Bortles, quarterback at a University of Central Florida. Alright. Hear me out here. I heard this somewhere. I'm not going to take full credit for this. This idea was in the back of my mind this entire time, but it really wasn't like an idea that I was like, I kind of lost it. It was just like, it was an idea I had at one point, and I was like, I just kind of put it off, and I was just like, maybe that's really not true. It just kind of crossed my mind once or twice. But I thought, maybe this whole Cleveland is obsessed with Johnny Manziel is a little bit of a, red flag. It's a kind of a, throwing out the dummy here. Maybe have the Houston Texans select Manziel at 1, or someone move up and get Manziel, and leave Bortles, the guy that they actually want, there. Blake Bortles, he reminds me a lot of Andrew Luck. Great mobility, meaning he's not a speedster. He's quick, but he's not fast. A big guy, big arm, more of a loft passer. If you really want to see how in-depth I go into Blake Bortles, again, check out my quarterback ranking video, because I really go into depth, explain everything. I think I even get out of football and explain what a loft pass is. At some point, it might have been during the Blake Bortles explanation. But Blake Bortles definitely best fits the Browns scheme, and I believe he definitely does have the most upside here. He throws the ball a lot like Andrew Luck. Just definitely needs to be more consistent with his accuracy, especially on the deep ball. Every quarterback in this draft pretty much needs to become more consistent. It's a consistency. Every quarterback can be more consistent. There's no quarterback out there, with the exception of Tom Brady, because that throws consistently excellent every game. There's no quarterback besides him. I think maybe you can argue Drew Brees with Manning. Obviously, he showed you in the Super Bowl. What the hell was that? But yeah, Bortles needs to work on consistency, and again, mature as a quarterback through this Browns system. Again, another team with a lot of talent on that offensive side of the ball. So this is a team that is poised to become an excellent offense. They need to add a running back at some point during this draft. They need to add their starting running back for next year. But yeah, definitely Blake Bortles here, just plain and simple, makes a lot of sense. Alright, number 5 spot, I have the Oakland Raiders selecting Teddy Bridgewater, quarterback out of Louisville. Bridgewater, the most polished passer in this draft class, which means he's the most NFL ready guy. I think a team like Oakland is a team with a ton of needs. They have $60 million in cap room. Now, as extraordinary as that is in cap room, that should tell you something right off the bat. This team does not have a lot of talent on it. Someone yelled at me the other time for calling Lamar Houston bad. He's not bad. He's just not a pass rusher. He's a run stopper. But that's $60 million in cap room. Need to start somewhere. So every team starts with a quarterback. So you need Bridgewater. He's going to be the reason the Raiders need Bridgewater the most here. And in my opinion, this works out the best if this is planned to go this way. Because the Texans need a spark plug at quarterback. The Browns need someone that can develop with their offense, their new offense, and their weapons, their young weapons. And the Raiders need somebody who can actually be consistent in throwing the ball. Now, people are starting to question Bridgewater's size and whatnot, but he is excellent intangibles. He's an excellent leader. I remember my reasoning for why this is before the season started. It just came to my mind that I said this earlier in the season to one of my friends. That, look, the reason why I think Teddy Bridgewater is an excellent quarterback and why I want him starting for my team is because he's so tough. You see him in Florida games. You saw him in that Florida game with a broken wrist. He's got his mom there every time. He's playing for inspiration because his mom had breast cancer, if you did not already know that. Bridgewater, actually an excellent leader. He succeeds under pressure. I was talking about how I didn't see any wow factor in Teddy Bridgewater. But on tape, you don't see any wow factor from Teddy Bridgewater. But I just reviewed the season of Teddy Bridgewater had. I'm like, yeah, he actually does have some wow factor. Will he go number 1 overall? Possibly. But if he's my choice, I think if I'm the Oakland Raiders general manager, oh god, I'd have a job ahead of me, first of all, and second of all, taking a guy like Bridgewater is going to give me somebody who's going to be an excellent option, and I don't think there's really any way, I don't want to jinx it, knock on wood, but I don't think there's really any way that Teddy Bridgewater won't succeed at the next level. He's got the mindset, he's got the mentality, he has the maturity, he has the leadership, he's got the arm. So what? He can't, doesn't have superstar speed, or he doesn't have I don't even know, maybe he's skinny. I'm skinny, I'm really skinny. So what? Who cares? I like Teddy Bridgewater to the Raiders for sure. That's a great pick for them there. Definitely going to help jumpstart this offense that is pretty horrible as of now. Okay, at the number 6 spot, I have the Atlanta Falcons selecting Khalil Mack, outside linebacker out of Buffalo. Khalil Mack, the most versatile and complete linebacker in this draft, in my opinion. I like him a lot. I don't care where he played. He's clearly, far and away, the most complete linebacker in this draft. He can pass rush. He can, play in coverage. He can stop the run. He can leap. He can catch the ball. He's got tremendous athletic ability and great football instincts. I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to need to add him because of his pass rushing skills, but they're also going to get a bonus, and which is going to knock him over Anthony Barr here because he can drop back into coverage. Excellent. So they're going to get an even added bonus. They need their pass rusher and an outside linebacker, and they're going to get an added bonus by getting Khalil Mack, who can drop back into coverage. Excellent option for the Atlanta Falcons here at 6. Alright, moving on. I have the number 7 pick, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting Anthony Barr, outside linebacker, out of UCLA. Raw pass rusher, raw player, but guy on the rise. He's a big guy with a ton of speed, former running back at UCLA, an excellent pass rusher. He's so raw, he can learn outside linebacker or he can learn defensive end. And again, no one wants to tell me what the Buccaneers scheme is. I know last year was a 4-3, but I don't know if it's a 3-4 this year. I don't know. Someone needs to tell me that. Because this pick needs to be more justified. Because, he can put his hand in the dirt if it's a 4-3, and if it's a 3-4, he can, has the athletic ability and size to drop back into coverage. And I think he's going to be an excellent option. Going to need some more development than maybe Khalil Mack does. But at the same time, he can still give them an option that they didn't have before on a very talented Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. Alright, moving on to the number 8 spot, I have the Minnesota Vikings selecting Sammy Watkins, wide receiver out of Clemson. Look, previously I had them taking Derek Carr, but it's been brought to my attention that not only I already was going to change this, but I do want to give some credit to my subscribers and people who comment, supporters, because they did bring to the attention that they did take Carson Palmer. They did reach on Kristen Ponder. Carson Palmer, Kristen Ponder. That's kind of a similar name. That's an acceptable mistake. Anyway, they did reach on Kristen Ponder, and it did not work out. So this general manager, if he wants to keep his job, will, if he wants to keep his job, he won't try to reach for another quarterback here. I do see the Vikings looking to make a trade to get up because they're kind of in that in-between spot where they're at 8. They're they can't get one of the big 3 quarterbacks. They can't get Clowney. So, take Watkins. You're going to need a quarterback eventually, so why not surround him with as much talent as you possibly can. Sammy Watkins, the best player available at this point. I think it's plain simple. Just take him. He's an explosive wide receiver. Been compared a lot to Cordero Patterson, just a more polished version. And Cordero Patterson's on the Minnesota Vikings, so have them both there. And the polished version and the non-polished version, and that's going to be an explosive offense in Minnesota once they get their quarterback of the future there. So for now, I have the Minnesota Vikings at 8, selecting Sammy Watkins, wide receiver out of Clemson. Okay, at the number 9 spot, I have the Buffalo Bills selecting C.J. Mosley, linebacker, Alabama. C.J. Mosley is an inside linebacker officially in this draft, but he can play anywhere along the linebacking core in a 4-3 scheme. I don't see him as a 3-4 pass rusher whatsoever. I see him as that inside linebacker type guy, but he also can play the outside linebacker position in a 4-3 scheme. I just said that twice. I don't know why, but he's going to complement Kiko Alonso very well, and have a formidable front there. Good linebacking core. That'd be a pretty good linebacking core with Kiko Alonso and C.J. Mosley. Very versatile, very athletic, has the ability to drop back into coverage and stop the run. He's got a good amount of speed and a good amount of size. He does everything well, and he's a lot of room for improvement. Still kind of raw, but he's very athletic and obviously going to be a good fit there with Kiko Alonso. So, number 9, Buffalo Bills selecting C.J. Mosley, linebacker out of Alabama. Okay, moving on to number 10 spot, I have the Detroit Lions selecting Justin Gilbert, cornerback out of Oklahoma State University. A lot of people have been saying they need an option, opposite Calvin Johnson, but in Detroit, I haven't seen too much of an issue at the offensive side. Their offense has been pretty good. The problem has been in the defense. It's been in the secondary. It hasn't been in the linebackers, and it really hasn't been in the front. It's been in that secondary. They can't stop the pass. For a team that relies so heavily on the pass offense, I think they would value the pass defense pretty highly, but it seems that they haven't. So I think they need to spend this top 10 pick. Sammy Watkins isn't on the board. If Sammy Watkins was here at 10, I could see them taking Sammy Watkins. I did overlook that in my last mock draft. That was pretty stupid of me. Because if Sammy Watkins is available at 10, I see that's allowed to take. You're allowed to take Sammy Watkins at 10 if you're the Detroit Lions, but he's not going to be here because I think the Vikings are going to take him. It's going to be the Vikings or the Bucks that are going to take him. And then, so they got to add Justin Gilbert, who's an incredibly athletic cornerback, a lot of speed. He can also has a versatility to return kicks, play inside, play outside. Got great hands. Reminds me a lot of Patrick Peterson in terms of his athleticism and hands. Not as big as Patrick Peterson, and not as nowhere near as polished as Patrick Peterson is. But that versatility and that athleticism, that returning of kicks, that ball catching ability, the ball skills, they all remind me of that. And they just need a corner in Detroit desperately, and I think Justin Gilbert's going to give them that. So again, number 10, I have the Detroit Lions selecting Justin Gilbert, cornerback out of Oklahoma State University. Alright, moving on to my number 11 pick, I have the Tennessee Titans selecting Derek Carr, quarterback, Fresno State. Alright, look, there's a huge difference between the 8th spot of the Vikings taking Carr and the 11th spot of the Titans taking Carr. I think it's definitely a much safer spot for, in terms of job security. If you take Derek Carr at the 11th spot, I believe, Derek Carr should go between that 11 and 20 range. That's where I think Derek Carr should go. He's not in the same class as a Blake Bortles or a Teddy Bridgewater or a Johnny Manziel, but he's right there on the border. He's a first-round quarterback, but he's going to be in that 11 through 20 range. And if he doesn't go to the Titans here, he's going to fall down a lot. He'll probably end up going he won't slip past the Cardinals. So if a team wants him and he does not get drafted by the Tennessee Titans, they will have to go up and get him before the Arizona Cardinals do, because they will. But Derek Carr to 11 to the Titans. They do need help at the quarterback position. I do like Jake Locker and his athleticism and his arm, but he just hasn't been able to stay healthy. And the new head coach, they're gonna want his own brand new quarterback there. So Derek Carr, a guy with a big arm, not as high as his brother went, but still pretty high in the draft, and he definitely has a lot of talent. So 11 Titans taking Derek Carr, quarterback out of Fresno State. Okay, at the number 12 spot, I have the New York Giants selecting Jake Matthews, offensive tackle out of Texas A&M. Jake Matthews is going to bolster up this offensive line more than it'll appear. Look, he can play both left and right tackle, which I believe he'll probably start right tackle year one. My last video I said he'll start left tackle year one, but Will Beatty is a better pass blocker as of right now. He will be this team's future left tackle, but I think he'll start right tackle. I think Justin Pugh is better fit for the guard position. I've been saying this all along. I've been saying it since he's been drafted. I still, in my opinion, I'd rather have an excellent Pro Bowl guard than trying to force the guy into being a tackle. If he's a guard, he's so good a guard that he can possibly play tackle when he's needed to be. If someone gets injured on the offensive line, then you can move Justin Pugh in and play that. Injuries happen in the NFL all the time. Why not play him most of the time in his most comfortable position of guard? Smaller arms will have some trouble there at tackle, so move Justin Pugh to left guard. Still can pass protect very well. And you got Will Beatty, and then you got Jake Matthews. You need a right guard in the center, and everything's good. Everything is good. So this pick is a great value for the Giants at 12, and I believe it's fairly likely to happen because the only teams that are going to take left tackles are going to be the Rams or the Falcons. The only tackle I could see the Buccaneers possibly taking would be Greg Robinson because they want a mauler. But for now, Jake Matthews 12 to the Giants is it makes sense. It's a good pick. Alright, with the 13th pick, the St. Louis Rams will select Mike Evans, wide receiver, Texas A&M. Back-to-back Texas A&M Aggies going here. 12 to the Giants, 13 to the Rams, Mike Evans. big receiver, reminds me a lot of Vincent Jackson. You know, it's going to be a good compliment to Tavon Austin would be Mike Evans. I said this in a previous mock draft, and I ended up last mock draft not having this pick here because I had Watkins falling here somehow. I don't know what I was thinking with that. It was really stupid. It's not gonna happen at 13. But yeah, Mike Evans is gonna complement the speedster and Tavon Austin very well, giving Sam Bradford or whoever plays quarterback for the Rams next year a formidable option there. You know, Johnny Manziel's favorite target, big guy. Again, you could just kind of throw the ball up to him when in doubt. Just throw the ball up to him, and he'll come down with the catch for you. So at 13, Mike Evans, wide receiver, Texas A&M to the St. Louis Rams. Okay, at the number 14 spot, I have the Chicago Bears selecting Timmy Jernigan, defensive tackle, Florida State. One of the strongest, if not the strongest player in this draft class. You know, the Bears need a lot of help on the defensive line. They need to stop the run. He's a great run stopper, but he has the explosion and athleticism in his hands and feet, where he can rush the passer as well. Can play any defensive tackle technique you want him to. He's big enough to play the nose, and he's athletic enough to play a 5 technique or 4 technique. I don't know. Anywhere that's classified as defensive tackle, Timmy Jernigan can play. He's got a lot of energy when he goes out there in the field. This Florida State Seminole, I'm a Florida State fan. You're gonna hear this a million times. Guys from Florida State that I've watched all season, I know them better than other guys. So, you know, Timmy Jernigan, he plays with a lot of enthusiasm and emotion, and it's just portrays in the way he plays the game. He hits hard, he runs hard, he does everything hard, and he's the best defensive tackle in my opinion in this draft class, and the Bears will be lucky to have him here at 14. Okay, the next pick is Pittsburgh Steelers at 15, and I have them selecting Taylor Lewan, offensive tackle out of Michigan. One of the most consistent pass blockers in college football. Did not allow a sack this entire season, and he's just been consistent throughout his entire time he's been there. I don't think he's fit to play right tackle whatsoever, even though he's very big. He's just got the feet and footwork for left tackle. Very consistent. Pittsburgh obviously needs help along that offensive line, most noticeably at the tackle position. Taylor Lewan, one of these guys, you can probably say is a safe pick. Might not give you anything incredible, but he's going to give you something that's going to be there for a while. He's going to be a solid option at left tackle, and for a long time, guy who can last in the league. Guy's played very consistent in college, and no reason to think why he won't be able to do that at the NFL. So I did all the videos, the GIFs, put them on this video. I'm making the video. And they all corrupted. Yay. The ones I haven't done yet have corrupted. So, I am going to not do the GIFs for the rest of this video because I can't right now. I'm sorry. Don't hate me. I did 15, 14. It took me like forever. So I'm just gonna talk. I'm good at talking, so let's just do this. Alright, 16th pick, I have the Baltimore Ravens selecting Marquise Lee, wide receiver out of USC. Marquise Lee, a speedster. Guy who's not on the rise, for sure. Not on the rise. On the downfall, as a matter of fact. But, the contrast of players is really what I like to see, but with, Kelvin Benjamin going there, I'm going to put him back there eventually. But Marquise Lee has a lot of speed. He has, great hands. He needs to be more consistent with everything he does, but, he's a very experienced wide receiver, and it's going to give Joe Flacco another option, opposite Torrey Smith and Dennis Pitta if they do resign Dennis Pitta. You need to, you definitely need to go wide receiver here if you're for Baltimore, because that's the position where they lack the most depth, in my opinion. They need to add another weapon to keep surrounding Joe Flacco with weapons. Ray Rice had a down year, but I think he'll be back up next year. But yeah, for now I have the Ravens taking Marquise Lee, wide receiver out of USC. Alright, now we're on to the 17th. What the hell? I'm on to the 17th pick, and I have the Dallas Cowboys selecting Clinton Dix, free safety out of Alabama. Clinton Dix, a guy with great ball skills and great coverage skills. Great tackling and great coverage skills. Yeah, he does have good ball skills as well. Extremely athletic. The Chicago Bears, they had problems stopping the run, but yes, they do need a safety desperately, but their problems started up front. With Dallas Cowboys, these problems are really at safety. The long runs were happening often, and the more talented player by far left on the board, maybe not by far, but yeah, he is probably the most talented player left on the board at this point. On my big board, he is the number 2 guy. Not overall, number 2 guy left on the board as of right now. He's number 2. But I have Clinton Dix, free safety out of Alabama, going to help out that defense there in Chicago, in Dallas. Okay, moving right along. The Jets, they're going to take the best player on my big board that's still available, and that is Eric Ebron, tight end out of North Carolina. I would see the Jets taking the best wide receiver, the best receiver at this point. And Ebron, even though he's a tight end, he's the best receiver at this point. So he reminds me a lot of Jimmy Graham. He's got extraordinary athletic ability. He catches the ball very well. He definitely needs to work on his blocking, but I just don't see him as going to be needed to be a blocking tight end. I see him in the mold of a Jimmy Graham. Extremely productive there in North Carolina with Bryn Renner as his quarterback. And yeah. Again, extremely productive guys in college tend to, be consistent at the next level, and he's got a ton of athleticism. So he's a guy who's been productive and has a ton of athleticism. I don't see a need for him before this pick. That's a problem, with the exception of the Giants. But if they have Jake Matthews still on the board at that point, there's no way they're going to pass up on him. But that's an absolute steal for the Jets at 18. When I get the number 5 guy on my big board, they get him at 18. That's incredible. So, yeah, Eric Ebron, tight end of North Carolina, 18 to the Jets. Moving right along. Number 19, I have the Miami Dolphins selecting Zach Martin, offensive lineman out of Notre Dame. I still have him labeled as an offensive lineman, not a tackle, not a guard, not a center. He can play everywhere. And the reason I have him as he's more talented than Cyrus Kouandjio is at the moment. He's more polished. He's so versatile that a team that has no offensive line whatsoever, the offensive line is just decimated. Mike Pouncey is their lone bright spot, and he's involved with this Jonathan Martin bullcrap too. So he's an issue. So you got complete uncertainty. Why not get a guy who can play everywhere? So if you have an issue here, put him there. If you issue a guard, put him a guard. If you issue a tackle, put him a tackle. If you issue a center, put him a center. He can play anywhere. It doesn't really matter. So I think he's definitely a guy with a lot of versatility. Dolphins definitely need an offensive line desperately. So yeah, Zach Martin, offensive lineman out of Notre Dame here. Alright, at number 19, I have the Arizona Cardinals selecting Coney Ely, defensive end / outside linebacker out of Missouri. And I want to talk about this pick for a little bit. Look, there's a number of different ways that the Arizona Cardinals could go here. They can go tackle, and if that was a tackle, I think they would probably take Cyrus Kouandjio. If it was a free safety, it would probably be... people are saying that they need a run support safety, because their GM apparently said that, as that's one of the comments I got recently, saying how the Cardinals GM wants them to have a big, hard-hitting run support safety. Alright, Calvin Pryor, the best safety available at this point, is in the mold of a Deshaun Goldson. He's a free safety. A run support safety in that mind would be, a strong safety, like a Jimmy Ward out of Northern Illinois, or a Deion Buchanan out of Washington State, right? Yes, Washington State. and I don't see those guys as being better than Coney Ely. I see them going best player available here, and it pains because I want to put Coney Ely and D Ford both in the first round, and I see them both going to Arizona. Like, that'd be great picks for both of them. But knowing me and knowing my obsession with Jimmy Garoppolo, if this team wasn't such a vertical offense, like that's what to me it seems like a vertical offense, I'd have Garoppolo here. That's sorry. Yeah, but Coney Ely and D Ford are both really versatile outside linebackers that can rush the quarterback with a ton of athleticism. Well, I'm going to have to see whoever runs the fastest 40, and just whoever impresses me more at the combine will get this 20th overall spot. But Coney Ely, you can't complain with this here. Make that defense even more talented there. I'd love it. I'd love that pick. Alright, at 21, I have the Green Bay Packers selecting Calvin Pryor, free safety out of Louisville. Like I just said, he's in the mold of a Deshaun Goldson. I feel like he's a lot like Goldson. He is, a big hitter, great ball skills, great run support. He definitely needs to work on his coverage, but he can play coverage well. Like he needs to get better at it, but it's very good at right now. And the Packers are a team with not a lot of needs. Middle linebacker probably, a linebacker most likely. A defensive line, yeah, but Calvin Pryor, free safety at Louisville, here makes a lot of sense to me because if you want to start that secondary, that makes it's a good move. I think that their free safety is their biggest need, and then defensive line is right after that. So Calvin Pryor, free safety out of Louisville, just fills that need, and I like to repeat myself a lot apparently because I just said that 3 times. No wonder my videos are 3 hours long. Like I'd say the same thing 40 times. I don't know why. All right. At the 22nd pick, I have the Philadelphia Eagles selecting Darqueze Dennard. I don't know what the hell his name is. Someone tell me. It's Darqueze Dennard or Darqueze Dennard. It's one of the two. I don't know. The cornerback out of Michigan State. Everyone looks at him and says big frame. They think of him as like Darrelle Revis, but no, he kind of is like Darrelle Revis in the run support sense, not the coverage sense yet. He's got injury problems, and that's going to hinder him a lot, his draft stock, for me. A guy who's had injury problems in college is a guy who's going to have a lot of red flags to me. As a GM or a scout or as a, if I'm a scout, my job is to tell them talent. But red flags to me are injuries in college, because in college you're 19 through like 22 or 23. Like, that's the early stages of your career. If you already have a lot of tread and injury on your body at that point, how much more punishment can you take? I don't know. Like, you saw in RG3, tore his ACL in college, tore it again. I was so mad this year when Tyrann Mathieu tore his ACL because he is my favorite player. Well, I say that about a lot of people, but Tyrann Mathieu is my favorite safety in the NFL, and I was so annoyed when he tore his ACL. This has nothing to do with anything. But, Darqueze Dennard has had a lot of injury problems, and not to say that he's not a talented guy, because he is, and I think the Eagles will take him here, but he's not going to be in the top. He's not going to be a top 20 pick because of those injuries problems. He's not going to be a top 10 pick because of those injury problems. Just teams don't want to take that risk at the top. In the top 10, they don't want to take that risk on a guy where they have Justin Gilbert and Darqueze Dennard, which they are very close in coverage and talent. They're very close as the number of who's going to be the number 1 corner. But those injury issues for Dennard are going to not. If it's very, very close, like it is for me, it's not close actually. For me, it's Gilbert has more talent, way more talent in my opinion. But if it's close for the Detroit Lions at 10, between who has more talent, they're going to look at Darqueze Dennard's injury history and put Gilbert ahead of him, because they're going to say, alright, they're very, very close. Let's take Gilbert because this one guy has a bunch of red flags with the injuries. So that's why I see him falling all the way down to the Eagles. The Eagles should definitely use a safety here. Well, we'll see what happens in my next draft. But for now, we have Darqueze Dennard going to them at 22. Alright, before I say this next pick, it has to do with this pick. Alright, sometimes I get really caught up on things, like small things as like age. The Chiefs, I'm going to say the pick, and then I'm going to explain. Alright, so the 23rd pick, I have the Kansas City Chiefs selecting Kelvin Benjamin, wide receiver out of Florida State. Now, alright, going back to what I was saying, sometimes I get really caught up. I didn't know, I'm really ignorant sometimes. Like, sometimes I just, I'm a Florida State fan. How do I not know Kelvin Benjamin is 24? I didn't know that. So, one of my first couple mock drafts, I had him going so high to, Baltimore and whatnot, but he's older. But, 24 years old, he has a ton of talent still. He's a guy that reminds me a lot of Anquan Bolden. If he goes to Carolina, I am not going to be sad at all. But yeah, what's it called? My only issue with this, so I got caught up on that, and I ended up dropping. Before I start saying something new, let me finish what I was saying. My previous mock draft, it was the last one. I got really caught up on the fact that Benjamin's 24, and I just forgot about him. I didn't even put him in my first round. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. My apologies to Kelvin Benjamin. I didn't know why I did that. That was mean. I love you. You helped me win a national championship. Not me, Florida State, but I'm a fan, so I consider myself part of the team. I can dream. Don't judge. Alright. Yeah, but the only problem with this pick for me is Dwayne Bowe is a bigger receiver, red zone threat. I kind of want to see them, I want this to flip-flop between the, it's definitely, I can almost guarantee you it's flip-flopping from this draft to last class. I think that I love contrast in a passing game. I like one big receiver and then a small guy, because it adds this little element of disguise, because a speedy is like a big guy, red zone target, and then this fast guy, because it adds this element of you could disguise things in the red zone. The bigger guys are probably draw more attention in the red zone, which leaves the smaller, speedy guy wide open in the back of the end zone. So it's contrast is gonna keep defenses on the edge. But I think with two big receivers in Kelvin Benjamin and Dwayne Bowe, that's not that bad. That's really not bad at all. Depending on what Andy Reid likes. So I saw him in Philadelphia. He had speed guys, Jeremy Maclin and Sean Golden, so Marquise Lee would probably be a better fit for him. But two big receivers. Look at Chicago. That's awesome. That's great wide receiver tandem, and Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall. So Dwayne Bowe and Kelvin Benjamin could be the next one in that, even though Dwayne Bowe is significantly older than Kelvin Benjamin. But they've been looking for a number 2 receiver for a long time, and they'll get it in this draft. Regardless of who it is, they'll get it. Alright, at 24, I have the Cincinnati Bengals selecting Bradley Roby, cornerback out of Ohio State. He's been rising up my draft boards and sliding down and then rising back up again. He's been fluctuating throughout my draft board. I think he's got a lot of talent. He's a blitzer. He's definitely going to start, but he can play inside, which is why I have him going to the Bengals, because you got to understand their need. They have Pac-Man Jones and they have J. Kirkpatrick. Those guys are going to probably play on the outside for now. So they need a guy to play inside for a round and maybe even mold and take over Pac-Man Jones's role once as he matures. So Bradley Roby fits that. He can blitz. You can use him in different ways. He's very athletic. He did get burned a couple times at Ohio State, but it's alright. He's a college corner. He'll get back on his feet. He needs some more coaching, definitely, but he definitely has the talent for them. And I saw Jason Verrett just sliding down people's draft boards lately, and I'm like, what the heck? I like Verrett a lot. He did slide on my draft board a little bit, but that's only because people rose above. He had people had him sliding. Daniel Jeremiah had him really sliding, and I'm like, what the heck? He's one of my favorite corners. I like his ball skills a lot. So, Bradley Roby, not Jason Verrett. Bradley Roby, cornerback out of Ohio State, to the Bengals at 24. One quick thing. I apologize for my phone going off this entire video. I can't get the mute thing to work. It's not working. So, I'm sorry. I gotta get that fixed before the next video, because it's just, there it is again. Yeah, well, I apologize for that. But moving on, I have a new addition to my first round. It's 25th overall pick. I have the San Diego Chargers selecting Bashaud Breeland, cornerback out of Clemson. A guy who could totally play the outside in the NFL. I love him as an outside corner. I think some people have him as a nickel, but I don't. I have him as an outside guy. He's got a ton of talent. He's, working hard on that defensive back. He doesn't get beat very often. jams guys a lot. He reminds me a lot of a Seattle corner where he like. Why does it look like I'm wearing a hat? My hair is annoying me. Yeah, he reminds me a lot of the guys that play in Seattle. Like, jams guys well. He has the athletic ability and versatility to blitz the quarterback. But I definitely need to watch more tape on Bashaud Breeland. But right now, he's jumped into my first round as one of the better outside corners in this draft. Alright, moving on. I have the Cleveland Browns selecting Odell Beckham Jr., wide receiver out of LSU. And previously, I've had Jarvis Landry before Odell Beckham Jr., but I don't anymore. I have Odell Beckham Jr. going here, and I see the Cleveland Browns not selecting a running back in the first round. I see them selecting a wide receiver to go opposite Josh Gordon. And just that offense is, their offense is going to be great because they're the number 4 spot. Unless the quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, which I don't think is going to happen. I think in that top 3, somebody, most likely Jacksonville, is going to take Clowney. So they're going to get one of those big 3 quarterbacks. So they're going to get their quarterback. And then all the way down here, there's plenty of wide receivers available at 26 for sure. And Odell Beckham Jr. is an excellent wide receiver. That offense is going to be tremendous next year. And there's going to be plenty of running backs available in their second round pick. So yeah, Odell Beckham Jr., wide receiver out of LSU, 26 to the Cleveland Browns. Okay, 27th pick. I'm going to make a quick change here. Remind me that you can't remind me, you're a freaking camera, moron. I'm just gonna say the pick I have now, so I don't screw everything up. But just keep in mind that this is gonna be changed to Aaron Donald. But at 27, I have the New Orleans Saints selecting Rashid Hageman, defensive tackle out of Minnesota. Versatile guy along that defensive line. Can play defensive end in a 3-4 or defensive tackle in a 4-3. Yeah, that's what I said it right. And he's got the versatility to play anywhere on that defensive line. Yes, he's a talented guy. Yes, he's a first-round talent. But with the needs in this draft, I don't think he's going to end up in the first round. I think Aaron Donald is on the rise in no. They run a 3-4. That's why I have Rashid Hageman going here, because of the versatility for him to play along that defensive line anywhere in a 3-4. See him actually ending up going in the first round over Aaron Donald because of scheme need. So, yeah. Out of Minnesota, that's Rashid Hageman. He's a big guy. I guess just said 4 times. He could play everywhere along the defensive line in a 3-4 scheme. He can play the nose. He can play and he can play defensive end. He has a good run-stopping ability and excellent pass rushing ability. His use of hands is very well, and he's also very athletic, which makes for a great, defensive tackle. So 27, I see the Saints taking Rashid Hageman, defensive tackle out of Minnesota. Okay, with the 28th pick, I have my Carolina Panthers selecting Jarvis Landry, wide receiver, out of LSU. Jarvis Landry has such good hands. He makes incredible catches. He will... I'm sorry, I'm stretching. He's definitely got the best hands since Larry Fitz to come out of the draft, and, he's got to work on his route running abilities. And what the is up with my hair? It's stupid. But yeah, he definitely needs to work on his route running, become more polished in the technical aspects of the game, but the raw talent is there. He is not as fast as Odell Beckham Jr., but he's still pretty fast. He's a huge upgrade over Brandon LaFell, but the things that Brandon LaFell gave us, like run blocking, he can do well. I've seen him run block. He pancakes people. He is a good run blocker. He may not seem like it, and maybe it's a very underrated part of a wide receiver is their run blocking ability, especially in a team that has Cam Newton as their quarterback and they run a lot of options plays. Carolina Panthers run the ball a good amount of time, and they need a wide receiver who can, block the defensive backs and safeties and sometimes even linebackers. So yeah, Jarvis Landry definitely a perfect fit for Carolina here. I can't see them passing up on him. If they do, I'll be very sad. But Panthers have drafted excellent the last 3 years. I have the utmost amount of confidence in them and that they will make the right choice here. Alright. Yeah. Okay, At the 29th pick, I have the New England Patriots selecting Louis Nix III, defensive tackle, out of Notre Dame. This is going to be a plain and simple one for the first time, because they usually talk about them for like 5 minutes. Patriots need defensive line help. Best defensive tackle available is Louis Nix. Excellent pass rusher, excellent run defense. Yeah, plain and simple, Louis Nix is the best defensive tackle. They're going to take the best defensive tackle on the board at this point, and that's Louis Nix III. Alright, 30, I have the 49ers. This is going to be changed, I guarantee you. This will be changed. I'll have the 49ers selecting Stephon Tuitt, defensive end out of Notre Dame. This is just simply adding defensive line depth at the defensive end position. Justin Smith can't play forever. Stephon Tuitt is an excellent pass rusher, and he's a bigger guy. Since it can see him succeeding in the 49ers defense, you know, in that 3-4 scheme, he can definitely replace Justin Smith and do an excellent job whenever he's gone. Alright. 31, I have the Denver Broncos selecting Jason Verrett, cornerback out of TCU, Texas Christian University. Look, they need help on the defensive side pretty badly at the defensive backside. And their pass defense is not very good at all. They made it to the Super Bowl based on their offense, not on their defense. And right now, I see them just taking the best corner available, and that's Jason Verrett. Yes, to see him as a guy who should start off in the slot, but he probably won't because of where I have him going. If he goes to the Broncos, he won't. He'll start on the outside, and they'll move Champ Bailey inside. As a long-term option, Jason Verrett has a ton of talent, but for right now, they just need to take the best defensive back available at this point, and right now it's Jason Verrett. So, plain and simple, that's what the Broncos got to do there. And at 32, I have the Seattle Seahawks selecting Austin Seferian-Jenkins, tight end out of Washington. Based on the comments I got, or the one comment I got, apparently Seattle, Washington already is in love with Austin Seferian-Jenkins, and everyone would freak out because he's from he went to Washington. That's a perfect fit there. Another guy to make that fan base happy, even happy. That fan base is an incredible fan base. Yeah, Austin Seferian-Jenkins is definitely going to be a great safety blanket for a young quarterback. I would, him and Jason Morrow are close, and with the connection for Austin Seferian-Jenkins already to the fans, he's going to sell jerseys. Everyone's going to love him. Everyone would flip out if they actually got him. So, with that there in the close, Jason Morrow has some red flags. I say Austin Seferian-Jenkins all the way here for the Seattle Seahawks. I think this is a no-brainer if he's on the board. Austin Seferian-Jenkins, tight end out of Washington, rounds off my first round. Okay, I rounded off my top 32 my first round in an hour and 2 minutes. Yay! Alright, so before I continue with this draft, because I know this is when a lot of people stop watching, and also some people start watching, so I have to do my second intro. Okay, prepare yourself. You can already probably see the video time, so you probably already know, or it's in the title, or it's in the description, but if you don't know, you just clicked on my video because you love me, and you're a nice guy, or girl. Everyone's welcome. This is it's up to 107, yay! Completely through the third round. So we're not done yet. I will definitely, there's no way I'm going to be able to talk about every single one of these guys, but, yeah. Got up to 107, I just stopped at 108. I can literally just say who I put there, though, but, whatever. Doesn't matter at this point. Okay, I'm trying to get back up to my pick, but I can't because I'm stupid. Alright. 33, I have the Houston Texans selecting Deon Buchanan, strong safety out of Washington State. They need safety help. This is the best strong safety, best safety available still. 33, back-to-back years they're going to take strong safeties with the #1 pick in the second round. I like it because that's going to be, a good option. I'm sorry, what am I saying? That's going to be, a strong position to take there. Something. Deon Buchanan's got a lot of talent. Play basket. What am I doing? He can play coverage well. He's a really big hitter. So, got an Arizona probably wants, but if they want him, they're probably going to take him in the first round because he'll be gone here. Okay. 34. Washington Redskins. Ryan Shazier, outside linebacker out of Ohio State. 4-3 outside linebacker, not a 3-4 outside linebacker. I like him a lot. Some people are low on him, and I'm just like, I like Shazier. You know, he's a good run stopper. He's got a lot of athleticism. He's a very highly touted college athlete, and those guys usually do well at the next level because he's been playing at excellent competition, and he's at Ohio State. He's just a star on that defense, and I like him a lot. I think he's gonna fit that Redskins very well. The successor to London Fletcher or Perry Riley, or that he's gonna probably play like he'll be classified as a middle linebacker there, even though he is an outside linebacker. It's the same thing. You saw with Kuechly to the Panthers. He was drafted as an outside linebacker, but in the 3-4 you see him, he moves to the middle. He's fine. I'm sorry, in the 4-3 he moves to the middle. He's perfectly fine. So I think Shazier won't have any problems moving to the middle. Anybody who knows by now knows what this next pick is going to be. Oh, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 35 select Jimmy Garoppolo, quarterback, Eastern Illinois. My favorite player in this draft class. Hashtag Team Garoppolo. Let's go. Garoppolo reminds me a lot of Alex Smith right now, but he has a higher upside than Alex Smith does, in my opinion. Great mobility. Can succeed in the right offense, and he's going to succeed in Jacksonville, I guarantee you. Garoppolo, I really, really hope that you do amazing in the NFL, because if you don't, you're going to make me look like an idiot. So, I got a lot biting on Jimmy Garoppolo. In my opinion, he reminds me, like I said, reminds me a lot of Alex Smith. If you want to find out more about Garoppolo, so I don't talk about him for 10 minutes, just go watch my quarterback ranking videos. If you want to find out anything more about my quarterbacks and stuff, and from now on, the descriptions of these guys are going to be a little less, because I'm going to do prospect ranking videos where they in-depth describe how each prospect is. So these are the mock drafts. Probably going to be a little bit shorter, but I'm just going to try to read off some of these picks, because I got a lot of picks. Okay, there's a lot of picks in here, and I'm just going to explain them briefly. Alright, 36, I have the Cleveland Browns selecting Carlos Hyde, running back at Ohio State, the first running back off the board, and the one who fits the Cleveland Browns scheme the best. Big physical runner. His speed has improved over the last year. He's a guy who's on the rise. Probably the best running back in this draft class, and he fits Kyle Shanahan's scheme the best out of anybody. So Cleveland Browns taking him at 36. 37, I have the Oakland Raiders selecting Brandon Cooks, wide receiver out of Oregon State, drawing a lot of comparison to Steve Smith. A speedy guy, kind of undersized, produced very, very well at the collegiate level, and Oakland needs to surround their new quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, with a lot of talent. If this is based on my draft, so why not start with the wide receiver in Brandon Cooks, who can make give him a guy to throw the ball to. He can make plays after the yards after the catch, and just another asset of this deep wide receiver class will be this 37th overall pick. At 38, I have the Atlanta Falcons selecting Cyrus Kouandjio, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Most people, almost everybody, has Kouandjio in their first round. I do not. I see pretty much need here. Like, Kouandjio, he's at a risk. And, with the talent in this draft class, I don't see Kouandjio going in the first round. If he goes in the first round, will I be shocked? No. But if it was up to me, he wouldn't be in the first round. He hasn't showed the effort to be in the first round. He hasn't, performed as well as a first rounder. But Atlanta will be very, very happy to have him here. He can definitely start off as a right tackle and maybe in the future become a left tackle. I think this is perfect fit for them. Atlanta Falcons at 38 games Kouandjio. I think that's perfect. Good pick if they get him there. Alright, at 39, I have the Buccaneers selecting Morgan Moses, offensive tackle out of Virginia. Another guy who's going to play right tackle year one that people think that could develop into a left tackle. And I think this is a perfect situation for Morgan Moses if he goes to the Buccaneers in the second round, because he'll have the opportunity to play right tackle, get his bearings in the NFL. And Donald Penn, their current left tackle, is 32, going to be 33 during the next season. Towards the end of his career, and then Morgan Moses can adapt to the NFL speed, and then get transferred to the left tackle when Donald Penn retires. So that's a good fit for them right there. Alright, with the 40th overall pick, I have the Minnesota Vikings selecting Zach Mettenberger, quarterback out of LSU. The Vikings aren't going to be 100% satisfied with if they get Mettenberger. as their first quarterback they get to take in this draft. I don't think they're going to be 100% satisfied on that. Look, Mettenberger does have a big arm, but he needs to improve in a lot of elements. I like strong arm quarterbacks. I have him well ahead of A.J. McCarron. The ACL injury is going to be a factor, but for now, Mettenberger to the Vikings. He's better than what they have there now, so, who knows? He can develop into a great NFL starting quarterback. But you never know. So I think this is you have to take a quarterback in the second round if you're the Minnesota Vikings. Alright, 41. I had the Bills selecting Jake Mewhort, offensive tackle, out of Ohio State. He's a right tackle, and plain and simple, they need a right tackle. He's a right tackle. That's going to fit well. Okay. 43, I have the Tennessee Titans selecting D Ford, defensive end / outside linebacker, out of Auburn. A very athletic guy, can play both defensive end and outside linebacker. Very versatile, great pass rusher. He has a lot of speed and a lot of athleticism. Tennessee, they need help in a lot of areas, and pass rushing helps a lot. If you have a good pass rush, it helps your defense a lot. They won't be as exposed. Alright, at 44, I have the New York Giants selecting Chris Borland, inside linebacker, out of Wisconsin. Reminding people a lot of Luke Kuechly. I don't think he's nearly as talented as Luke Kuechly, but he can, he plays really hard. Giants need a middle linebacker pretty desperately. Their linebacker core is pretty awful. So, anything's going to help him here. Borland in the second round could be, a great option. He's a little bit undersized, but, can bulk up a little bit. And, yeah, he's a great option. That's a good option there at 44. I would be very satisfied if I was a Giants fan with Borland at 44. All right, 45. I had the St. Louis Rams selecting Allen Robinson, wide receiver out of Penn State. What the heck did I do that for? I don't know why I did that. It doesn't make sense. I already had him drafting. I guess Tavon Austin in the slot, Mike Evans, and Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson is. Hold on. Allen Robinson, is a very good, excellent route runner. He has great speed. He uses his hands very with a defensive back very physically. He's a good hand catcher. So an outside receiver, not really an inside guy. So him opposite Mike Evans and Tavon Austin in the middle will be a pretty good option. All right, 46 had the Bears selected Jamea Thomas, safety out of Georgia Tech. They need a safety. Okay. At 47, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers selecting Antonio Richardson, offensive tackle out of Tennessee. They need to add another offensive tackle opposite Taylor Lewan, so they need a right tackle because they don't have any tackles on this team that are good. So Antonio Richardson's a big guy with a lot of athleticism. There you go. Okay, 48, I had the Baltimore Ravens selecting Jawan James, offensive tackle out of Virginia, another right tackle with a lot of talent. Out at a guy opposite Eugene Monroe. They need a tackle opposite Eugene Monroe, and Jawan James can do that for them. 49, I have the Dallas Cowboys, if this happens, getting an absolute steal in Aaron Donald, defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh. Can play defensive end in a 3-4 and defensive tackle in a 4-3. He's reminding people a lot of Geno Atkins. He's not as big as Geno Atkins is, but he reminds a lot of people of Geno Atkins coming out of the draft. But Aaron Donald has more, people that seeing him, he's more polished than Geno Atkins was coming out of the draft. So if you see him have that much of a work ethic, and they get him in the second round, and he turns out to be a Geno Atkins, that'd be pretty incredible. Alright, so 50th pick, I have the New York Jets selecting Paul Richardson, wide receiver out of Colorado, and a lot of people have him much higher than I do. I just don't, I see him, he's got the speed, reminds some people of Mike Wallace, but I don't see him having excellent route running ability or great hands. He's my number 10th rated wide receiver. I have him going here to the Jets because they really need wide receiver help, and he's going to be, for that offense, that's an excellent option. So that they need anybody to catch the ball in New York. So Paul Richardson, that's a pretty good pick there. Alright, 51, I have the Miami Dolphins selecting David Yankee, offensive guard out of Stanford. Another one of these versatile guys that can play pretty much anywhere. He's probably a guard or center. He's not going to really be a tackle, but he's going to be one of these guys that's solid in every single area. they need help so badly on the offensive line. It's ridiculous. I still don't even have them taking a tackle. I see them signing a tackle in free agency for sure. I think they kind of have to, because I don't think there's enough picks in the draft for them to take for tackles. Alright, so 52, I have the Arizona Cardinals selecting LaMarcus Joyner, cornerback out of Florida State. He's probably going to be a slot corner, but they need a cornerback. Why not take LaMarcus Joyner, another young guy, add to that defense? And yes, you kind of see me avoiding tackles for them, but another team I expect to go heavily after Brandon Albert in free agency. Alright, 53, I have the Packers taking Dominique Easley, defensive tackle out of Florida. He would be so much higher on my draft board if he didn't miss this entire season. A very explosive pass rusher, and definitely could fit into that Green Bay defense any way they want him to. Again, defensive line for Green Bay is their weakness, and Easley can either play a 3-4 defensive end or a defensive tackle. Okay, at the 54th pick, I have the Eagles selecting Dion Bailey, safety out of USC. Doubled as a linebacker, reminds me of Eric Berry a lot. I'm gonna flip him out for what's his name? Forgot his name. Sorry. Where in the world did I put him? Jimmy Ward, that's his name. I'm probably going to swap him for Jimmy Ward. I don't even think... Yeah, I'm probably going to swap him out for Jimmy Ward in my next mock draft. But for now, it's Dion Bailey, safety out of USC. Alright, 55, the Chiefs. I have him taking Seantrell Henderson, offensive tackle out of Miami. A big guy. He definitely is quicker than you would expect him to be at his size. And he's a right tackle, in my opinion. And they're losing Brandon Albert to free agency, most likely, which means they're going to lose their right tackle with Eric Fisher, making him their left tackle. So now they need a right tackle, and Seantrell Henderson can be a great right tackle in the NFL. Alright, at the 56th pick, I have the Cincinnati Bengals selecting Kyle Van Noy, linebacker out of BYU. Very versatile guy. Probably the most fit for the Sam linebacker position. But they need another linebacker in that thing defense. It's a little linebacker depth. I think Van Noy is a pretty solid option here. Very talented guy. Yeah. 57, I have the Chargers selecting Aaron Colvin, cornerback out of Oklahoma. He would be way up if he didn't tear his ACL during Senior Bowl week. He is a guy on the rise, still a young guy. Because he's a rookie, obviously, so that ACL injury isn't going to be too decimating. It's just that they might miss him for a good portion of the season. So, I think if he turns out to be the player that he was before the ACL injury, then he would be an absolute steal here at 57. Okay, 58, I have the Colts selecting Devontae Adams, wide receiver out of Fresno State. Good route runner, got pretty good hands. He wasn't exposed too much in Fresno State with any weaknesses, so we'll see if he has any weaknesses at the next level. But for now, Devontae Adams, solid option. They need wide receiver help in Indianapolis. So with their first pick, they're going to have to take a wide receiver, and Devontae Adams is definitely a great value pick at 58. 59, I have the New Orleans Saints selecting Walt Aikens, cornerback out of Liberty. I'm just going to read off picks, and then if there's any guys that pop out, I'm going to say something. At 60, I had the Panthers selecting DeMarcus Lawrence, defensive end out of Boise State. A guy that's an absolute steal there. That if they do in fact lose Greg Hardy to free agency, he can replace Greg Hardy very well. 61, I have the Patriots getting another steal, and Jason Morrow, defensive end, tight end out of Texas Tech. I hate to make this comparison, but it's kind of true. Reminds me a lot of Aaron Hernandez with his skill and off-the-field issues. He's had a lot of off-the-field issues, but that's why I see him falling. The Patriots have taken chances on guys with off-the-field issues, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I see him taking the chance yet again. Alright, at 62, I have the 49ers adding cornerback Pierre Desir out of Lindenwood. 63, I had the Broncos taking Marcus Roberson, cornerback out of Florida. 64, I have Seattle Seahawks selecting Josh Huff, wide receiver out of Oregon. 65, I have the Texans selecting Ryan Grant, wide receiver out of Tulane. 66, I have the Redskins continuing to bolster the linebacking core, and Kristen Kirksey, linebacker out of Iowa. They need more linebackers in that defense. They could go corner here, but I see them probably, yeah, they might go corner here, more than I think about it. 67, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting Scott Crichton, defensive end out of Oregon State, and he has a ton of talent, and he's definitely worth a pick much higher than this, but I just don't see a spot for him. And if they get Clowney in the first round, and then they get Garoppolo in the second, and then they get Crichton in the third, that's an excellent draft there. 68, I have the Cleveland Browns selecting Jimmy Ward, strong safety out of Northern Illinois. If they're not able to retain TJ Ward, they'll have to draft him. If they are, it'll be fine. At 69, I have the Raiders selecting Trey Mason, running back out of Auburn. I think this is a fair spot for Mason. I like him a lot. You know, I've had him in the first round for a while, but then I went to tape and I said, I gotta pick the way that they should pick. Even though I like Trey Mason, I got a gut feeling about him. 69 is the Raiders, not too bad. 70, the Falcons, they'll take Troy Nicholas, tight end at Notre Dame. Surprising that he came out this year. Third best tight end in this class. And the tight ends are just needs for them and not as high in this draft. I'm sorry, the fourth best tight end in this class. And I see him going here to the Falcons. It's going to be a steal for the Falcons. They're going to get a lot of steals, the Falcons, in this draft. Did I really do that? Yeah, I did. I put Ryan Grant twice, apparently. My bad. Apologize. When I do a lot of picks, I do this sometimes. But for some reason, I have Ryan Grant, wide receiver out of Tulane, going to the Bucks. I already said Ryan Grant, so I apologize for that. Alright, here's my next pick. I have questions about this. Alright, 72, okay, look. Does anybody know if Spencer Shuey declared for the draft, or what he is? Is he a senior? Someone let me know. This is the third round. This is my mock draft. The reason why I'm saying this is because I don't see him anywhere in any prospect listings. But I think he's a senior, and it's just if anyone knows Spencer Shuey, the inside linebacker out of Clemson, is who I have going to the Vikings if he is indeed in this draft class. I don't even know. I honestly have no clue. But I know he's a very talented guy, and it's the third round, and I was running out of linebackers, so I put Spencer Shuey there, even though I don't even know if he's in this class. But someone needs to let me know about that. 73, I have the Buffalo Bills selecting Crockett Gilmore, tight end out of Colorado State. Alright, at 74, I have the Lions selecting Travis Swanson, center out of Arkansas. Even though Dominic Raiola had his best season of his career, he's still old. So, Travis Swanson, a young successor there. Learn, get him, yeah, whatever. Titans, 75, I have them taking Sile Richardson, left guard out of Baylor. 76, I have the Giants selecting the best run-blocking guard in the draft, Gabe Jackson out of Mississippi State. 77, I have this is three guards right in a row. 77, I have the Rams selecting Xavier Suafilo, offensive guard out of UCLA, the highest upside of any guard in this draft class. 78, I have the Bears selecting Trent Murphy, defensive end out of Stanford. I'm not even classifying as an outside linebacker anymore because he can't play outside linebacker. 79, I have this. Someone brought this to my attention. This is actually the Browns. The Browns selecting Jalen Saunders, wide receiver out of Alabama. 80, I have the Ravens selecting Michael Sam, defensive end outside linebacker out of Missouri. You've heard a lot about him. First openly gay football player. I'm losing my voice, so I'm going to have to go really fast here. The Ravens can handle it. So I believe that's a great fit if he goes there. 81, I have the Cowboys selecting Jackson Jefferson, defensive end out of Texas. 82, I have the Jets selecting Kadeem Carey, running back out of Arizona. 83, I have the Dolphins selecting Billy Turner, offensive tackle out of North Dakota State. 84, I have the Cardinals selecting James Hurst, offensive tackle out of North Carolina. 85, I have the Packers selecting Christian Jones, linebacker out of Florida State. 86, I have the Eagles selecting Ed Reynolds, Ed Reynolds, free safety out of Stanford. I saw FS and I was like, oh, Florida State, no, moron. 87, I have the Chiefs selecting Kyle Fuller, cornerback out of Virginia Tech. 88, I have the Bengals selecting Ywin Smallwood, inside linebacker out of Kentucky. And I gotta be honest, towards the end of this, I just see his name, Ywin Smallwood, and I'm like, I gotta put him on here. I don't... No idea who he is. Alright, 89, I have the Chargers selecting Dakota Dozier, offensive guard out of Furman. 90, I have the Colts selecting Daquan Jones, defensive tackle out of Penn. That's a steal. 91, I have the Saints selecting Trevor Riley, outside linebacker / defensive end out of Utah. 92, the Panthers select Keith McGill, cornerback out of Utah. 93, the Patriots, Martavius Bryant, wide receiver out of Clemson. 94, 49ers, Lake Seastrunk, running back out of Baylor. 95, Broncos, what the hell? Oh yeah, Broncos, I said Browns. Broncos, Jeff Matthews, quarterback out of Cornell. 96, Seahawks, Stanley Jean-Baptiste, cornerback out of Nebraska. 97, Texans, Robert Herron, wide receiver out of Wyoming. 98, Washington Redskins, Victor Hampton, cornerback out of South Carolina. 99, Jaguars, Bishop Sankey, running back out of Washington. 100, Browns, Will Sutton, defensive tackle out of Arizona State. 101, Raiders, Dante Moncrief, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. 102, Falcons, Jeremy Hill, running back out of LSU. 103, Jared Abbrederis, wide receiver out of Wisconsin. 104, Vikings, Marcus Smith, defensive end / outside linebacker out of Louisville. 105, Craig Lawson, strong safety out of LSU. 106, Lions, Ahmad Dixon, strong safety out of Baylor. 107, Tennessee Titans, Terrence Mitchell, cornerback, Oregon. Whew, that was a lot of picks. Alright, once again, thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like and a rating, and subscribe. Tweet me for your your comments and any questions, and any guy you want more description on, I will give it to you. Be sure to check out that quarterback ranking video, because for some reason it's stupid. I'm gonna re-upload it, probably. And #teamgaroppolo. Peace.